everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm just going to do a really simple eye look. I wanted to try out an eyeshadow quad that I got, and so I'm just going to be doing a really simple look. I shouldn't have picked this, but I did, so now I have consequences. And yeah, we're just gonna get started. So first off, I'm using the Dominique Cosmetics primer. I ended up making the executive decision to not get the Thorn Oil during the 21 Days of Beauty. I just ultimately couldn't really justify it. My primer collection, while nowhere near exhaustive, is plenty big enough for one person and a friend, 2 friends maybe. And then I'm gonna use my usual under eye primer of choice. Okay, and it is late at night, and this is going to be the second makeup look that I'm putting on my face. It's just that my mail arrived and I just wanted to ride my motivation train, so that's why we're going with it. I just lost one of my eyelashes, which is a shame. So now I have 1 eyelash instead of 2, which is as good as having lost both. I'm not really going to put on like a full layer of like foundation or anything, so I'm just going to use the Luna concealer and the Hourglass stick foundation, and I'm just going to use those and kind of see if I can just achieve a quick layer with minimal effort. Okay, so I'm going to use a kabuki brush. I'm using one from the Luxie Pro Tools collection, which you can't get anymore, which is a shame. This is a pretty good match for my skin tone too. It's not bad. I pretty much never use a foundation brush because it usually irritates my skin. I'm just lazy today. I didn't want to get up and have to wet my sponge. And despite being a stick, it actually works really well with a brush or a sponge. It goes good both ways. And I think personally it is a very high quality foundation. I would say you can definitely get it to full coverage. I generally go for a high medium with this because, again, I don't like to layer too thick of a layer of. Okay, and then I'm gonna go in with my Luna concealer, 0.7, whatever that is. I'm just gonna put a little bit where I think I need more coverage. And then Korean products actually work really well with fingers, so I'm just going to use a finger. This is a foundation makeup for lazy days. This concealer is really great for also just kind of making your pores in the center of your face a lot less obvious. I still do not ever skimp out on my under eye concealer. I always will take extra time for that. So I'm going to use my JX Professional Triple Concealer, and I'm going to cover these dark circles. Yeah, big difference. There we go. I'm not going to put on too much just because it is the evening, but just enough you can see I look a lot more awake now. Alright, for bronzer I'm going to use the NARS Laguna 01. Been really enjoying this recently, especially when used in tandem with a nice, good, solid cheek brush. So I'm going to use one from Spectrum Collections, and you don't even really need to put that much on. This brush is a lot more fluffy, so it's going to be great for dispersing the product and putting less down and less pigment down. I don't want too much on. I really like how much cooler this is than some of my other cream bronzers I've tried in the past. It's just such an easy, versatile product for me, so I'm very glad I have it. It is kind of a drier cream to powder consistency, so it's going to have that natural matte finish, but I personally prefer my cream products on the drier side, more cream to powder side, and more matte because otherwise it just takes all my foundation off. Like, you'd think with my dry skin that I would use hydrating cream products, but no. They are just too much. And then I just stick some on my chin and the rest under my nose tip. And that'll be it. You need so little, so like I would never finish one. The only thing I don't like about it is just that weird beachy coconutty smell. I can see why some people like it. I don't like beaches, so I don't like the smell. I'm gonna powder my face. I don't want to use a heavy intense powder though because my base is a little bit more like, my base is already not like super dewy to begin with. So I'm going to use the CHANTECAILLE Perfect Blur Setting Powder. It's not a very heavy powder. It's very firmly pressed in the pan, so you only pick up a little at a time. And I'm using a more kind of fluffy powder brush, so I'm not picking up much at a time either. And then I'll just kind of dab on a little bit of setting spray just to give some moisture back. Okay, so I'm gonna do my eyebrows now, and I would like to try the Benefit Microfilling Pen. I bought this once over a year ago, dried out in like 2 weeks. And then when Nakia Joy was raving about it, I left a comment under her video about how mine dried out really fast, and she was like, oh, that's not what's supposed to happen. Mine's lasted for months and months. You should have returned it. And I was like, okay, so I buy it again. So I bought it during the 10x points discount, and I don't know, man. It says it's dark brown, but it's like the pigment barely shows up. That's the other thing, is I wish there was a darker shade, but I can't tell if this is the darkest it gets or if mine is already dried out. I mean, it is okay for like some supernatural look, but I definitely recall it being darker than this at least. Maybe I need to tip it upside down for a little while. Everything else about it was perfect though, like the angle, the prongs, the ink size, the size and the stroke of the microblade details was like perfect. So if it had been black and it didn't dry out so quickly, it would have easily been a holy grail for me. So I'm just going to tip this upside down for like a day, and I'll see if that helps the case. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna have to go in with my brow flick and finish up the job. Like, I really do want to like that product, because if it worked, I would literally finish my eyebrows in like 30 seconds every single time. I would never use a pencil ever again. Okay, that's gonna be the eyebrows complete. I just used a brow pen because it's gonna be a more natural light makeup look. I do really like the brush effect of just using a brow pen. I do really like how it kind of just makes it look a lot softer and fluffier. And then I'm gonna use Boy Brow. I do like how it kind of gives my brows a bit of a more kind of hairy appearance when I brush it through. It doesn't make my brow hairs stand up or anything. I do have really stubborn Asian brows, but it does add a little bit of like an extra something something. Okay, I zoomed you guys in just a touch, and I'm hoping that this works out. I have been hearing very polarized reviews. I've been hearing some people will be like, oh my gosh, it's so cute, and I've been hearing other people be like, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. So we're in for a grab bag. Now, first of all, the latch is on the bottom here. You see how it's got the latch on the bottom? That makes it nearly impossible to open, so I am already not a fan. I have to like hold it like this to open it. And second off, got these like dumb little applicators that nobody will ever use. But on the inside, we've got the beautiful Imperial Moon. So we're just gonna go in and have some fun. I don't necessarily say I'm expecting anything. I do have Selfridges Plus, so if I hate it, I can return it and get my money back, which is nice. If you do end up wanting to get it and you have Selfridges Plus, you may be better off getting it from Selfridges just because it is significantly cheaper there actually. I don't know, this is the one that I gravitated to the most out of all of them, so we'll just see what happens. I really have no expectations. I do know that it's got kind of like that more baked hard press formula, but I'm gonna first go into this orange, and it does have a really cute mirror. That's cool, I guess. We'll just see what happens. No eyeshadow primer. Just want to see how this performs without any primer. Last I checked, luxury shadows shouldn't need an eye primer to look good, right? So that's more or less just kind of like is my color but shiny. I also, here's the 3 shades besides the black swatched on my fingers. You can kind of see what they look like here. So it kind of feels to me like you're supposed to use this shade as a base, this shade to deepen up, and these 2 shades are kind of accent shades you can mess around with. It feels like that to me anyways. Of course, I don't know how this palette is intentionally meant to be used because I don't really keep up with things. I'm not really following Guerlain, and I don't keep up with luxury makeup most of the time. Well, first let me put this on my other eyelid, and I'm going to use my finger on my other eyelid. It does feel very smooth and creamy on my finger. It goes on real nice and easy with a finger, so if you just wanted to use a finger, you could. And it being kind of more or less the color of my skin means I can just put it everywhere. If you've watched any of my videos, you'll know that these are the shades that kind of bore me the most, but it is nice, and as you can see, it leaves just a simple wash of color on the eyelids. If you're lighter than me, then this will definitely show up as kind of a really friendly coral on you. Put down a base of some kind, I can see it showing up better, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm gonna go in with the black now. I've never really tried true luxury shadows before. Like, I have definitely tried like Natasha Denona and Pat McGrath luxury, but I've never tried like department store luxury shadows before. Never tried Tom Ford, Estee Lauder. Definitely have never tried YSL shadows. Never tried Givenchy shadows or anything like that. Never even tried Dior shadows. So this is my first foray into luxury shadows, and with any luck, it will be my kind of last one, really. I'm kind of eyeing the Dior Starry Quint just because of the stars. So this black actually is really easy to use, and I do really like the darkening effect it has to offer. Having laid down that first shadow, it does blend really easily into the other ones. As you can tell though, I have built up a significant amount before it really got to the level I was satisfied with. I suspect the shadows are buildable on purpose. This is kind of like a shiny, satiny kind of black as well. Well, this whole palette goes on the lash line really nicely though. Okay, so that's gonna be the look so far. It's definitely is behaving how I would expect a luxury shadow to behave somehow. The shininess of the finish, I will say, is pretty unique to my collection personally, just because this will be the first time I've worked with shadows that specifically had this particular kind of finish. Okay, so that's what it's looking like so far. It looks fine. It's not like super hard to use. I will just say that, like, obviously you're mostly just paying for packaging. I do really like the black actually. I thought the black was easy to work with, so that was nice. I'm gonna get a denser brush so that I can try and see if I can pack on this black. I just want to see how dark we can get it. That Sonia G brush I was using is not quite as dense as a synthetic. That really deepens it up by a pretty significant amount. And it is nice to be able to work with these shadows and not get any fallout. That is a nice bonus. Okay, so we started off almost being disappointed, but it's picking up now. So I really want to try out the silver on the lower lash line. So I'm going to try that. Picks up nicely on the brush. Yeah, this is a really pretty silver. It's not the same as the Shiseido silver that I featured. It is a lot more glittery. The color layout of this palette does feel a smidgen random to me just because there's like weird orange color and then there's like a silver and a black and a darker kind of rosy silver, so the orange coral shade feels super out of place. I would have rather seen a darker taupe instead, but this is a beautiful silver shade. Okay, and then I'm going to take that rosy goldy shade. I'm going to use another kind of flat firm brush, and this is going to go, the orange shade is boring to me, so I'm just going to use this on top, see if this is any better. This is not sparkly. It's much more kind of smooth and has a sheen. Yeah, I don't see these two colors are not really working inside the quad for me. They just aren't. I'm not really so sure what kind of look this quad is going for. It feels very aimless and random. The other quad I was eyeing, the jungle one, definitely looked way more put together than this, so probably I should have gone for that one instead. I thought this one would work better. Yeah, this is just such a random layout. Everything else about this palette would have worked really well if the orange was a taupe instead, and that's just kind of what I'm gonna stand by. I'm gonna just add some of this coral down here just to kind of add some unity to the look. And I mean, it could also just be that the looks this palette are meant to make are just really not targeting me at all, so it's also just a matter of personal preference. I know a lot of other YouTubers really liked it and it fit within the kinds of looks they create for themselves. I'm just gonna fuss more with this black. I do really enjoy using this black, and I just want to darkening it up because this is a really nice black. I admittedly I really like this black. It is so easy to use. This is a darkening up black that I can work with. And then I'm just going to use my finger to see if I can apply a little bit more of that. Oh, I closed it and now I can't open it again. Yeah, see, this shade is really pretty. I don't see why this orange shade has to be in here. Okay, so this is gonna be the finished eye look without mascara. Yeah, I mean, that's that. This is why I don't usually buy luxury eyeshadows, but I will say the finish is definitely like reminds me totally of what luxury brands generally pull, is just that kind of satin finish. It's definitely very common with luxury brands to pull, so it definitely is not surprising to me. I just felt like I saw a lot of other YouTubers really enjoying this, and I saw swatches of it online that looked a lot better, so I guess I just kind of got bought into the hype a little bit, but I mean, it's still pretty. It's definitely a palette I would travel with because it's very easy to work with. Because I was watching other people's demos of it and they made it look really nice, so yeah, I guess I was just expecting more. This is exactly why I pretty much never buy luxury eyeshadows, so now you guys know. Okay, I'm gonna finish my mascara. I'll be back when I'm ready to finish off the rest of my face. Okay, so I watched a video from Alexandra Anil about using eyeshadow primer to help your lashes stay curled. I tried it and I must just have some like extra super stubborn lashes because it really didn't work. As you can see, my lashes are really just not curled. We'll just call this like a realistic look. Like if you just didn't want to have to bother with removing waterproof mascara, this is going to be the look you kind of sit with, just working with what you have. Once I get my lash lift, of course, I'm like, I can't wait, but my appointment is not until the middle of September because they didn't have any. So that just leaves me with some blush, some highlighter, some lips, and then we're going to be done, which is good because it's already 10:10 and I do need to go to bed somewhat soon. I think I'm just going to use, I'm going to use a face palette I haven't used in a while. I'm going to use some shades from the Moon Prism blush palette. It just contains some really basic simple shades that should go with what's in here. So I'm just going to go with Pink Moon, and it's just going to be a very simple kind of goes with anything kind of pink. It's more neutral, which is good because this look does have a lot of coolness to it. As you can see, it's very light and it builds really well, so a very difficult blush to overdo. So I'm just going to stamp it right in the middle of my cheek there. Yeah, that pretty much is going to be that. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of spacey in the back just for some depth. Kind of like contouring with blush. I don't want to use more bronzer, but I just want a little bit more depth to my face. So you just take a little bit of a darker blush and then you just kind of can contour that way. I do really like Lunar Beauty's blush formula. It is very nice. Okay, so now for highlighter, I'm just going to use a really simple highlighter, nothing too crazy. So I think what'll work best for this is going to be the Flower Nose Revelation. A really nice highlighter. I feel like it just never steers me wrong. I'm just going to put some on my cheeks. I do really want the Guerlain Meteorites. Probably should have spent my money on that instead of on this quad, to be honest. As you can see, the Revelations is just absolutely beautiful. And then I'll use my finger to apply it to my nose. And then a little bit on my chin. I also do like to take a little bit right under my eyebrow. It looks okay. I mean, it's nothing spectacular. I will say the satin finish nature of the eyeshadow, it's very smoothing. It makes my eyelids look super smooth, so I can definitely see where the audience is for this, because if you have any wrinkles or texture in your eyelid, or if you have dry eyelids, or if you feel like your eyelids are starting to kind of age, then I can definitely see how these quads are going to really smooth all of that out and make it just look really seamless and just kind of eliminate any troubles that you have or insecurities you have with your eyelids. So I definitely can see the market for it. It does have a really pretty kind of glossy finish. Reminds me of the Shiseido singles that I was using in another video, but I do think the Shiseido singles are better, which is fine because if you bought 4 Shiseido singles, you're paying more than a quad actually, so makes sense. But yeah, I will say my favorite shade in the palette is definitely going to be that black. Maybe I don't get it. Is there something that I'm missing? Like, I don't get it. Or maybe it's just overpriced. Like, I mean, you know, that is probably the case. But also, is there something I'm missing? But it was a fun experiment, and I still do really like that I have it, and I definitely do actually, like, I unironically do really like this black. I will just put that out there. I'm just going to put on, like, a simple lip gloss because I am literally gonna go straight to bed after this. I am just not in a mood for, like, complicated lip makeup, so I'm just gonna pick out some kind of easy lip. We can keep with the luxury theme, right? Let's see, I've got 2 YSL shades that I'm interested in using. We'll see which one works. YSL Water Lip. These are good. This is luxury that's good. I love these. These are good. I'm gonna go in with 617 first. There was like a milky nude shade that sold out really quickly in Korea that I never could get my hands on. This is kind of the closest thing I have to it. And I believe these are pretty much discontinued now, which is just the biggest shame ever. I don't understand why YSL would discontinue such a good product. Unless they're planning on like remaking it and then re-releasing it. Are they gonna do that? I hope they do. And if they do that, I sure hope it's as good as the last one was. If they end up re-releasing it, I'll definitely pick up one shade to compare. I'm just gonna kind of overline at the same time that I apply this. Alright, and then I'm gonna use 613 on the inner part eyelet. It's a little bit messy just because I don't have lip liner on, but even that I'm able to get this level of precision with just like a glossy lip tint is pretty impressive, not gonna lie. And then I'm just gonna kind of tidy up. Okay, we're gonna call this the finished look. It's super simple. A bold kind of point lip definitely just kind of pulls the look together and adds kind of an elevated kind of effect to the look. If I had false lashes or if my lashes actually showed up, I'm sure the look would look a lot better, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, this is gonna be the finished look. Everything else that's on my face I like. It's just that I wanted to try this eyeshadow quad and I have many questions. I think I have more questions than answers about this whole luxury eyeshadow thing. I gotta say, it leaves me curious. It leaves me scratching my head and feeling, you know, I'm oddly fascinated with the idea that companies sell these and people buy them. Something that you could think about and have deep discussions about. Like, what am I missing? Am I just not classy enough for the luxury? Like, am I just not a luxurious person? Which would make a lot of sense because we all know how I am. But that's okay. Maybe the day that I understand this quad is the day that I will know that I have become elegance. If you got that reference, we can be friends. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this quad. Aside from the black is fine. But everything else I'm just like, I mean, I can see, like, the finish is pretty, but I don't know. Because, like, if you were to buy this in the States, it's almost $90 for one quad. I paid on Selfridges, which is closer to $60, but that's still kind of a foolish purchasing decision. So we can just leave this video on that note. Make of it what you will. If you'd like to judge me in the comments, feel free, and anybody with the spiciest take gets my kudos. Some of y'all have really funny jokes in the comments and I appreciate it. But that's gonna be it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this makeup look, and I'm gonna sign off now and go to bed because I think my brain has already tucked in for the night and I'm still sitting here a talking shell of a human being wondering why she has this thing. Okay, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.